There's a thing that happens to people like you that the rest of the world will never feel. A pull, a pressure on the inside of your chest that doesn't go away when you ignore it. A voice underneath all the noise of your life that keeps saying the same thing in the same tone, year after year. Even when you beg it to be quiet, you've felt it. You've felt it since you were a kid, and you've spent most of your life trying to figure out what it is and why it picked you. It picked you because God picked you, and what He does to the ones He picks, what He actually does, behind the scenes, before they even know He's doing it, is so far outside what the average believer thinks God does that most of them would call it cruel if it ever happened to them. But it's not cruel. It's holy. And if any of what I'm about to walk you through has happened to you, the reason you felt different your whole life is finally about to make sense. I'm George, and I'm going to tell you the 9 things God does when He chooses 1 in 8 billion. The 9 fingerprints He leaves behind that nobody else around you is going to recognize. I'm not going to soften this for you. I'm not going to dress it up to sound nice. Because if you really are one of these, and something in your spirit is already telling you that you are, you need the truth, not a comfortable version of it. Stay with me to the end. Don't click away when it gets heavy, because there's going to be a moment in this video where everything finally clicks for you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, fix that now. Hit the bell. I want you here for what we're walking into on this channel, because the chosen ones are finding each other right now, and you don't want to be the one who missed it. The first thing God does when He chooses you is He uproots you. Think about Abraham. He was 75 years old, settled, established. He had his land, his people, his routine, his whole life mapped out in front of him. And God showed up one day and said, leave. Leave your country, leave your family, leave everything you've ever known and go to a place I'll show you. He didn't even tell Abraham where the place was. He just said, go. That's how God moves with the chosen ones. He uproots you. Sometimes it's a job loss you didn't see coming. Sometimes it's a relationship that ends out of nowhere. Sometimes it's a town you have to leave, a church you have to walk away from, a version of your life that just doesn't fit anymore. And you can't explain why to anyone who asks. The world calls it instability. Heaven calls it relocation. If you've spent years feeling like you can never quite settle, like you keep getting pulled away from the things you thought you'd build your life around, that wasn't punishment. That was God refusing to let you put down roots in the wrong soil. The chosen ones don't get to live small. They get uprooted because the assignment is somewhere else. The second thing God does is He sets you apart from the womb. When Samson was still inside his mother, the angel of the Lord showed up and said, "This child is going to be a Nazirite from birth. No razor on his head, no wine on his lips. Set apart, different from the day he opens his eyes." Samson didn't choose that. His mother didn't ask for it. It was decided before he had any say in the matter. A lot of you have known your whole life that something was different about you. Even as a kid, you felt it. You'd be sitting in school and feel things the other kids didn't feel. You'd cry at things they laughed at. You'd see things in adults that the adults thought they were hiding. Your mom probably told you you were too sensitive. Your dad probably told you to toughen up. Your teachers probably wrote it on your report card. Daydreams too much. Doesn't fit in. That wasn't a flaw. That was the mark. God set you apart in the womb the same way He set apart the prophets and the judges, and every one of His chosen vessels in the Word. And the loneliness of being set apart, the loneliness you've carried since you were a child, that's not a defect. That's the proof. Let me say something to the ones of you who have been carrying childhood wounds you've never been able to name. Some of you grew up in families where you were the strange one. You felt like an alien at your own dinner table. You'd look around at your siblings, your parents, your cousins and wonder if you were adopted, if there was some mix-up at the hospital, because you could not for the life of you figure out how you came from these people. That feeling, that exact feeling, is one of the most reliable signs in the Word of God that He set you apart before you ever arrived. You weren't supposed to fit. The setting apart is what's been making you uncomfortable your whole life. And the day you finally stop trying to fit in is the day the weight starts to lift off of you. Because you were never meant to. You were marked for something else. The third thing God does is He chases you down. Jonah ran. God told him, go to Nineveh. And Jonah said, no thank you. Bought a ticket on a boat going the other direction and tried to disappear. And what did God do? He sent a storm. He sent a fish. He sent the most ridiculous, dramatic, unmistakable interruption in the history of the Bible to drag this man back to the assignment he'd been given. Because God doesn't lose track of the ones He chose. If you've ever tried to run from your calling, and I know some of you have, I have too, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You tried to live a normal life. You tried to be a regular person doing regular things. You wanted to settle into the version of life everyone around you was living. And every time you tried, something blew it up. A door closed that you couldn't pry open. A job fell apart for no logical reason. A relationship ended right when it looked like it was going to give you the stability you wanted. That was the fish. That was God sending you the storm. He wasn't punishing you. He was refusing to let you waste what he put in you. The unchosen get to live whatever life they want. The chosen ones get chased down by heaven until they finally turn around and walk toward what they were made for. The fourth thing God does is he interrupts your ordinary day. Elisha was plowing his field, 12 yoke of oxen, a regular farmer doing regular work on a regular afternoon. And out of nowhere, Elijah walks up to him, throws his prophet's cloak across his shoulders, and keeps walking. That was it. No conversation, no explanation. Just a mantle dropped on a man in the middle of his ordinary day. And here's what Elisha did. He went and burned his plow. He killed his oxen. He cooked them and fed them to his neighbors. And then he walked away from everything he had ever been and followed Elijah. He didn't wait for clarity. He didn't go pray about it for 6 months. He recognized the call when it dropped on him. And he answered it the only way you can answer something like that, by burning the backup plan. God interrupts you in the middle of ordinary days. You'll be folding laundry, and a thought will hit you so hard you have to sit down. You'll be driving to work, and a song will come on the radio, and you'll start crying for no reason you can explain. You'll be in the shower, and something will rise up in your spirit that feels like it came from somewhere outside of you. Those aren't random moments. Those are the mantle dropping. Those are the interruptions. The question is, when it comes, do you burn the plow? Or do you go back to plowing the field like nothing happened? The fifth thing God does is he shrinks you before he grows you. Gideon started with 32,000 men. He was about to go fight the Midianites, an army that outnumbered him to a level that was already laughable, and God looked at his 32,000 and said, "Too many. Send the scared ones home." 22,000 walked away. Then God said, "Still too many." He sent them down to the water and watched how they drank. 300. That was the number he left Gideon with. 300 men against an army you couldn't count. That's how God works with the ones he chose. He shrinks them. He takes away the things they thought they needed, the savings account they were leaning on, the friend group they thought would always be there, the platform they were building, the plan B and the plan C and the plan D. He strips it all down until there's nothing left but him and the 300. Because he's not going to let the chosen ones go into the battle thinking they won it on their own strength. If you've watched your life get smaller and smaller in a season where it should have been growing, fewer friends, less income, smaller circle, quieter life, and you've wondered what you did wrong, the answer is nothing. You did nothing wrong. God was reducing you down to the 300. He was making sure that when the breakthrough finally came, there'd be no doubt in anyone's mind, including yours, about who did it. I need to stop right here for a minute, because if any of what I've said so far has been landing on you, if you've been recognizing yourself in these signs, if your eyes have been wet, if your chest has been tight, there's something I need to say to you before I keep going. There are messages that pass through your eyes, and there are messages that pass through your spirit. If something in you recognized itself while watching, don't dismiss it. That is the Spirit confirming what was already written. The secret protocol carries 7 keys that unveil what heaven deposited in you before you ever arrived. Things no one around you has ever been able to name. It comes with the full audiobook for your moments of prayer, silence, and encounter with God. And you also receive the Awakening Map, the guide that illuminates the 5 seasons of spiritual awakening, revealing with precision exactly where you are and what comes next. The link is pinned in the first comment, but only for a limited time. Don't let this moment pass without a response. I'm telling you about this because I built it for the exact moment you're sitting in right now. The moment where you finally start to suspect that all the strange, painful, unexplainable things in your life were not random, but were heaven shaping you for something. The 7 keys are going to put words to the things you've been feeling but couldn't name. The audiobook will be with you when you can't sit down to read, in the car, while you cook, on the nights when you can't sleep. And the Awakening Map is going to tell you exactly which of the 5 stages you're in, because some of you have been beating yourself up for not being further along, And the truth is, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You just didn't have anyone to show you the map. Go get it. Pinned comment. Right now. Before this window closes on you. Now let me keep going. There are 4 more things God does that I have to walk you through. The 6th thing God does is He interrupts your plans. Mary was a young girl in a small town, engaged to a carpenter named Joseph, with a quiet, simple life laid out in front of her. And the angel Gabriel walked into her room and said, "You're going to carry the Son of God." There was no time to think about it. No time to consult her parents. No time to wonder how Joseph was going to take the news. Her life, the one she had planned, the one she was expecting to live, was rewritten in a single sentence from a being she had never met. That's what God does to the ones He chose. He interrupts. He walks into your perfectly reasonable plans for your life and says, "Actually, no, we're doing something else." And when it happens to you, it doesn't feel like a blessing at first. It feels like an earthquake. The dreams you had for your career, interrupted. The relationship you thought was the one, interrupted. The version of yourself you were building toward, interrupted. The unchosen get to keep their plans. They get to live exactly the life they imagined. The chosen get an angel walking into their room, saying something else is happening here. And the way Mary responded is the same way every chosen one has to respond eventually. "Let it be unto me according to your word." Not my plan, yours. I want you to think for a second about the cost Mary paid for that yes. Pregnancy out of wedlock in her culture was a death sentence. She could have been stoned. Joseph almost left her, until God Himself had to send him a dream to keep him from walking away. People in her town counted on their fingers, did the math, knew exactly what they thought had happened. She carried that. For 9 months and then for 30 more years, she carried the whispers about her, the side eyes, the questions, because she said yes. Every chosen one pays that cost. The yes you give to God is going to cost you the reputation you had with people who don't understand what He's doing in you. Family members are going to talk. Old friends are going to fall away. People are going to count on their fingers and decide they know your story. They don't. They don't know what an angel said to you. They don't know what's growing inside of you. They never will. But that's the cost. And you pay it because the assignment is bigger than the reputation. The 7th thing God does is He pulls you into the wilderness alone. John the Baptist didn't grow up in town. He didn't go to the temple schools. He didn't network with the religious leaders. God pulled him out into the desert and kept him there, eating locusts and wild honey, dressed in camel's hair for years. By the time he came back into civilization, he didn't sound like anyone else. He didn't dress like anyone else. He didn't preach like anyone else. The wilderness had made him into something the world had never seen before. If God has been pulling you into a wilderness, and a lot of you are in one right now and you don't even realize it, that's not Him abandoning you. That's Him preparing you. The wilderness is where He strips off the voices of everyone who tried to tell you who you should be. It's where He shuts down the comparison and the noise and the constant input from people who don't actually know you. And then He starts to speak, quietly, slowly, telling you who you actually are, telling you what you were actually made to do. The chosen ones can't be made in a crowd. They have to be made in the silence, where it's just them and God for as long as it takes. The 8th thing God does is He calls you by name in the middle of the night. Samuel was a boy sleeping in the temple, and God called his name, Samuel, just like that. The boy thought it was Eli, the old priest, calling him. He ran to Eli and said, "Here I am." And Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back to sleep." It happened again and again, 3 times, until Eli finally figured out what was going on and told the boy what to say the next time the voice came. "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." You have been hearing your name. You may not call it that. You may call it a feeling, a nudge, a thought that won't leave you alone. But God has been speaking your name in the middle of your nights for a long time. The 3 a.m. wake-ups, the dreams you can't shake, the thoughts that come to you out of nowhere with such clarity that they don't feel like your own thoughts. That's not insomnia. That's not anxiety. That's the same voice that called Samuel, and it's been calling you, and you keep thinking it's something else. The next time you hear your name in the silence, do what Samuel did. Say it. "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." And then wait. Because the chosen ones aren't the ones who hear better than everyone else. They're the ones who finally stop and answer when they're called. The 9th thing God does is He purifies your mouth before He sends you. Isaiah saw the throne of God. He saw the seraphim. He saw the glory filling the temple. And the very first thing that came out of his mouth wasn't worship. It was confession. "Woe is me, for I am a man of unclean lips." He knew that what he had just seen was so holy that he had no business standing in front of it. And one of the seraphim flew to him with a burning coal from the altar and pressed it to his lips, pressed fire to his mouth, to purify what was going to come out of it. That part hurts. I'm not going to lie to you. The purifying part hurts. There's a season in every chosen one's life where God starts to deal with what comes out of their mouth. The gossip, the bitterness, the fear, the lies they tell themselves, the words they use that don't match who they actually are. He doesn't do it gently. He puts the coal on the lips. The conversations you used to have stop working. The friends you used to vent to start to feel toxic. You catch yourself saying something and immediately know, I can't say that anymore. That's not me anymore. That's the coal. That's God preparing the mouth he's about to send. Because once he purifies your lips, the next thing he says is the same thing he said to Isaiah, who shall I send, and who will go for us? And after the coal, you're the one who finally says the words every chosen one says at some point in their life. Here am I, send me. And let me tell you something about that moment. The here am I, send me moment is not loud. It doesn't come with fireworks. Most of the time, it happens in your bathroom at 2 in the morning, when you're crying so hard you can't even form a full sentence, and the only thing you can get out between the sobs is okay. Okay, God. Okay, I'll go. Whatever it is, I'll go. That's the moment everything changes. That's the moment heaven puts your name on a different list. The ones who said yes after the coal, that's the 144,000. Not the perfect ones, not the talented ones. The ones who said yes when it hurt to say it. You are not like them. I want you to hear me say that one more time. You are not like the people who never got chased down by a fish, never had a mantle dropped on them, never heard their name in the silence. You are not like them. And the loneliness of not being like them is a price, yes. But it's a price you are always going to pay. Because the calling on your life is worth more than the comfort of being buying like everybody else. Now I want to hear from you. Out of these 9 things, the uprooting, the being set apart from the womb, the chasing you down, the interruption of your ordinary day, the shrinking before the growing, the interrupted plans, the wilderness alone, the name called in the night, the coal on the lips, which one made you stop breathing for a second? Which one did your spirit recognize before your mind caught up? Write it in the comments, just the number, just the name, and one sentence about when in your life it happened. Because someone scrolling past your comment is going to see their own story in yours and finally know they're not alone. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the bell. Share this with a person you've been thinking about while I've been talking. They came to your mind for a reason. The link to the secret protocol is pinned in the first comment. Go now, not after everything you just felt, and listen to me. Whatever you do tonight, when the house gets quiet, when the lights go off, when there's nobody left to perform for, don't run from what just stirred in you. Sit with it. Let it speak. Because the same voice that's been chasing you your whole life is in this room right now, and it didn't bring you this far to lose you in the silence. You were marked. And the next move is yours.